Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. This will be an annual business meeting of the 5th.
Chair and declare a quorum and call the annual meeting of the 5th District Georgia State Nurses Association to order. At this time, will you all stand while Mrs. Edith Honeycutt asks our prayer and
Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you that we can meet together to discuss problems of a very serious nature to all of us. Please guide us and give us the strength and the patience and the understanding that we must have to finally solve all of our problems. We thank thee, O God, for thy love and for thy guidance. Amen.
At this time, we will have roll call by sections. And in view of the attendance being as it is, I think it would be well when the secretary calls your section to please rise in order that we may get the count. And I will inform you when we've gotten the count so that you can be seated. EACP section,
Will you announce it, please, so we'll have it recorded? So,
we have to be seated. We have 26. Administration section. Listen, I'm sorry, we can't get a tally here. How about us counting off, please?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
9, 10,
11, 12, 18, 14, 21, 17, 18, 19, 21,
23, 24, 26, 27, 28, 29,
30, 31,
32, 34, 36, 37,
40, 44,
42,
44, more time. We got 7.
48.
Will the general duties please stand?
Were you standing? You were not.
With 7. 7, thank you. Occupational health, please stand. 1, thank you. Public health, please stand. And we got patients that are on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 is Ditchfield, and come down here. 12. 12. 13. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. 45, thank you. Private duty, please stand. I'll call. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 37. 37, thank you.
Since we have begun the count for the sections, some have come in. I wonder if those that have come in are one administrative is all that came in.
That makes 49 administrators.
Thank you. At this time, we would like to have approval of the minutes of the May 12th meeting, our last meeting, which has been circulated. Is there discussion or changes that the membership would like to make regarding these minutes, or may we accept?
Ms. Pope, I'm sorry to tell you, we did not circulate those. We didn't, for the entire membership. That's my error. We're gonna have to read them.
I'm sorry.
It's my fault.
We had thought that we circulated them with the Nurse of the Year. This meeting was just prior to the Nurse of the Year meeting on Thursday, May 12th.
May 12.
With your permission, then we'll have the reading of the minutes.
Been going too fast for me.
5th District, Georgia State Nurses Association, regular meeting, May 12, 1966. The regular meeting of the 5th District, GSNA, was held on May 12, 1966, 4:30 p.m. at St. Joseph's Infirmary. The meeting was called to order by the President, Ms. Pope. Prayer by Ms. Hammond. Roll call by section. EACT, 7. Administrators, 6. General duty, 2. Occupational health, 1. Public health, 4. Private duty, 9. Total, 29. Quorum was established. The minutes were approved as read. Mrs. Edna Lewis, parliamentarian, was introduced by Ms. Pope. Communications read by the President. Resume of the Executive Board meeting of May 9, 1966 is given by the Secretary. Treasury. The report of the 5th District was read by Ms. Atkins. The Professional Nurses Registry was read by Ms. Atkins. These reports were accepted and placed on file. Executive Secretary, Ms. Atkins, reported 1,071 plus 4 associate members as of this time in our district. Last year, we had 1,028 members. Standing committees, program. Ms. Hammett reported this committee has worked with the Careers Committee in getting the program ready for the commemorative service to be held tonight at 8 p.m. at St. Mark's Methodist Church. All members urged to attend. Printing. Ms. Atkins reported 2,500 copies of the directory is ready to go to press. 2,500 cards have been sent for sections and district meetings this month. Bylaws. In Ms. Hudson's absence, Secretary Mrs. Alford read the written report. Membership. Ms. Atkins reported for Mrs. Wood. Registry. Ms. Honeycutt gave report. Public relations. Mrs. Alford reported on television programs and radio spot announcement and newspaper coverage for Nurse Week. Reports of special committee. Advisory committee to the registry. Ms. Hammett gave report. Careers. Ms. Lane reported work done on Nurse of the Year program for tonight at 8 p.m. Insurance. Mrs. Fitzpatrick reported information and literature has been circulated to all members. Study Committee on the Functions of ANA. Ms. Rosecrans reported favorable enthusiasm toward proposed changes both in the committee meetings and among the membership of the 5 sections of 5th District. The greatest enthusiasm was shown regarding the changing focus toward clinical nursing groups. Report of sections, EACT. Ms. Bryce reported meeting last week. The next meeting will be annual meeting in September with the election of officers. Administrative. Secretary Mrs. Alford read written report from Ms. Hale. General duty, no report. Occupational health, no report. Public health. Ms. Hasty reported last meeting was held in April with good attendance. Private duty. Report from Chairman Mrs. Zerch was read to the Secretary. New graduates were greeted by our President, Ms. Pope. New business. A motion was made that the reports of the Study Committee of Functions of ANA and the committee report on bylaws be given to the 5th District delegates to biannual convention. The motion was carried. A motion was made this be the last regular meeting till annual meeting in September. The motion was carried. A motion was made to adjourn. Carried. The meeting adjourned at 5:25 p.m. Submitted by Jean M. Alford, Secretary.
Are there correction to these minutes? Hearing none, they stand approved as read. Following the roll call, I neglected to acknowledge any visitors. Do we have visitors at our meeting today? There's one here. Have one visitor. I didn't get your name.
Grace, Mary Jo, Grace.
Great. Mrs. Drake is from District 41 and Florida. Delighted to have you. this time, we will have the report of the Committee on Nominations. Mrs. Sachs will give, Mrs. Sachs, the Secretary of the Nominating Committee, will give this report.
The meeting was held on Friday, July 29th, at Robert W. Long High School. The following members of the committee were present: Ms. Kay Harper, Chairman; Ms. Genevieve Jones; Mrs. Emily Zertz; Ms. Margaret Jones; Mrs. Myrna Page; Ms. Marie Gunston; and Ms. Charlotte Sachs. The nominating committee submits the following names: the first Vice President, Mrs. Mahaffey, and Mrs. English. The Secretary, Ms. Rod Carol Rogers, and Mrs. Jean Alton. The Directors, Sister Ruth, they're not in the same order in the ballot, I think we're calling for that. Sister Ruth Mia Battle, Mrs. Genevieve Jones, Mrs. Jacqueline Graves, Ms. Martha Davis, Mrs. Sally Clark, Ms. Myrna Page, Mrs. Helen Pearson, Mrs. Minnie Lee Phillips, and Mrs. Inez Stanley. For Chairman, I'm sorry, in the beginning of the year, I had it here. I'm going to read it from the down. For Chairman of the Committee on Nominations, Ms. Marie Jones, Mrs. Alice Martin, and Ms. Charlotte Sachs.
You have heard the report of the Committee on Nominations. Are there nominations to come from the floor? Were there requests to come from the floor? And I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second that nominations be closed. I believe our bylaws call for a standing vote, and it will require all in favor of the motion to close nominations, please stand. Any opposed, please stand. And the nominations are closed. The chair appoints for tellers, Roland Tellers, Ms. Sarah Templeman, Ms. Elsie Reeves, Ms. Marilyn Hale, Mrs. Hasty, Margaret, and Mrs. Emily Zertz. Before we start the elections, we've tried to get a little bit organized to help move all of the members through the election as smoothly as we can. And if the chair of the tellers would please come and check the ballot boxes and indicate that they are in order, then we will ask the tellers to stand at the end of the first 5 rows and let the members move down the rows. Our bylaws do call for the ballot once you have placed your, made your vote. The ballot will need to be initialed by a teller for it to be legal. Also, our bylaws call for the voter placing his own ballot into the ballot box. So the tellers will stand at the end of the row. The voter will move down, have the teller initial your ballot, and then you will place your ballot in the ballot box.
I would like to show that both ballot boxes are empty.
If the members will now prepare their ballots, as soon as the chair of the tellers gets the boxes locked and sealed, we will move through.
She wrote on the back. Bring it up to her.
Have all voted who wish to vote. Have all of the votes been placed in the box. And the chair declares the polls closed. At this time, the chair wishes to speak to the membership. It has been approximately 9 months since I spoke to the membership after having officially accepted and having an opportunity to express my appreciation for your vote of confidence in the election of me as your president. While I did not, or have not, began to meet with all of the members, committees, groups, the sections that I would have hoped to have met with, I have been a rather busy president. An estimate of the number of meetings in which I have attended thus far this year includes some 40 meetings that were relative to this organization, 2 Ts, 1 community service, and all of the programs of the ANA convention. That is thus far this year. Together with your executive secretary, Carolyn Atkins, and I can say that this may be evidence that we were sincere in our intent to be the best servants of this organization. When I came into this position, the membership and the former officers of this organization, your organization, gave us a plan of work for the year now ending. As we look at our accomplishments, we realize even more the challenges still confronting us for the next year. While we have not accomplished any statistical feats, membership has increased from a final count 1965 of 1,123 members plus 4 associates. As of today, or to date, we have 1,153 members and 4 associates. A vote of thanks is indeed due to the active and enthusiastic membership committee chaired by Mrs. Dorothy Woods. In these some 40 meetings, of which I have been privileged to attend, evidence has been noted the inclusion and involvement of some of our younger graduates in the affairs of this organization. I would hasten to add, too, the accomplishment of the general duty group in a realization of a full program at this time. As we looked at the work before us, we pledged support, interest, participation in the affairs of the ANA, civic and nursing affairs of our state and our local community. Evidence of this has been seen in the grand work, study committee, the ANA structure. Among such programs, both in the total membership and in sections and committees, these programs including such current topics as Medicare, ANA's position paper, the military needs, reorganization of ANA, nurse-doctor relationships, mental health, economic welfare, functions and qualifications, standards, demand securities, religious maturity. And lastly, a program to pay tribute to our own, to all nurses, to honoring outstanding ones within our area. To the program chairman, to our overall membership program chairman, to the program chairmen of these sections, to the participating membership, you may be assured that you have given evidence of realizing your responsibilities and meeting these challenges of which we pledged and spoke of. Now that we have looked back proudly at those achievements, I will further add, regretful of all shortcomings and limitations, let us once again plan our work. At ANA, the profession convention, the profession dealt with issues for its future, such issues as reorganization of ANA, position of ANA on education. If I might speak briefly to this, realizing that this may be a very controversial statement or position for some of us, but I think all nurses will agree that the professional organization should take the position for its members. Long have we been criticized by the other professions because the nursing profession has not taken a stand. The national salary goal. I'd be interested to know how many of the members present today knows of the national salary goal that was voted upon at AMA. Certainly all nurses are concerned with the issues. Here in our own state, the threats of unions and such accusations that the organization, reference to the nursing organization, has, quote, done nothing for its members in 50 years, end quote. Such accusations should stir the very best in every nurse to make sure that our organization does for its members what its members wishes it to do. Do we need a greater stimulus as we think of our new year than this one simple charge against nursing? I remind you that the organization can be no better than all of its members. So, now at the middle of the milestone, may I express my gratitude for the many kindnesses and wonderful opportunities afforded me as your president this past year. Again, I wish to be your best servant and thereby your leader. I thank you. At this time, we will have the annual report of the Secretary, Mrs. Alden.
Madam President, members of 5th District, I would like to take this opportunity to tell the members of 5th District how much I've enjoyed serving you as your secretary for the past 2 years. This was my first real job working in our district, and I want you to know that I took this office seriously and tried conscientiously to serve you in every way. I attended during these 2 years every regular as well as special call meetings of your executive board and your 5th district, except one in January of '65, at which time I was doing open heart surgery and could not leave my work. Whether I'm elected today to another 2 years term as your secretary is not really important. I shall continue to work in any capacity in which I'm needed to help our district. I've learned much in these 2 years, and thanks to each of you for your patience and understanding.
We'll have the annual report of the treasurer, Ms. Mays.
The paper in text is the July expense account for the district. And that was number one. And the second one is the budget for 60,000. There's only one change. Well, we have put in, we haven't had a vote, but that is for next year. We hope we're going to get enough members, new members, so that our budget will submit the new, set out here on this year. But time will tell that. But the only other change was giving our president and the executive secretary $50 extra for their expenses to meetings. You've heard how many meetings that Ms. Pope has been to, and that means parking, sometimes lunch, and like that. So we added $50 to each of their checks, which was just $100. Now, all of you people that drive cars and don't go out to park know that parking has gone up everywhere, that one thing. And we all know food. So that is the only real change on our 50 cent budget with that $100. Everything is the same as we've allotted before, except for the extra $100, $50 to go to our therapist, and $50 to go to our executive secretary. It was passed by the board, and I just hope it meets with your approval. And now for that is the district. Any questions you want to ask?
Are you making a motion
No,
to
I
adopt
just-
this so that we make it?
So then, we'll take, I did not pass out anything for the register because that pertains to the register committee, first the executive board, the register committee, and the private duty nurses. And I have the July report. Due to the long weekend holiday, we were not able to get a August report, but this is the July report. Brought forward through June, $5,762.97. Dues and bill heads, $487.35, totaling $6,250.32. Now the expenses, which was salaries, telephone, rent, insurance, city license renewal, city and county taxes, the district meter, internal revenue, total $2,730. Now the balance in the bank, after it was paid, we got $4,000. That is in the first part, $4,177.02. That is because there was some outstanding checks, but that is taken out. And that meets with the bank statement as well as this report. And the committee worked up a 1967 budget. But the executive board thought it was wise to withhold until we find out just what is going to become or take place or was transacted where our official register is concerned. Sincerely, I don't need it, but I think I would really be grieved if they take time to it. Because I used it for so many years for supplying nurses to desperately ill patients. And it meant a great deal to me. And it's one way you felt that you were getting screened nurses when they came to the official register. Now we have, as you know from this budget, with the many months that we have, we did not have enough money to carry through to the end of the year. But there was 3 of us, 4 part of the time, that were able to get a grant that was transacted for us and gave us $8,000 to put in. We will get $2,000 each month, September, October, November, December, to carry the expenses through. And then we hope we'll get in dues and be able to all get together and to have a good, substantial official election.
Thank you. We have a motion to adopt the 1967 budget. Is there a second?
Steve. D-E-W.
Are there questions, discussion?
I have a question, and I really don't know, on the commentary, it says $20 per meeting in the proposed budget, which is $300, but I don't think we meet but about 6 or 7 times through the year, or how does that figure?
The board meetings
And special meetings, excuse
and
me.
the special call meetings.
Thank you.
Are there other questions?
Madam President, who is our legal counsel for this district now?
Mr. Martin Thurman. Then is there,
I would have two questions. I don't see any allotment here for programs outside of the Nurse of the Year. Now, maybe it's there and I just don't see it. And the next question I would like to raise is, when we subscribe to the American Journal of Nursing through the district, isn't this a $3 subscription? And then does not the district get 50 cents of this back?
They send us not only those that we send in 50 cents, if you send directly to us, but when you subscribe directly, after you've already had the initial subscription, at the end of the year, they send us a check, 50 cents for each one of them that go directly. We have to check it. We do all the bookwork for them, and at the end of the year, we get about $57. Now, Ms. Jones, one thing on the budget on there, as you know, we put for meter and other things, they are interchangeable. And if a program comes up and the body wants it, then the $300 so far has carried what we've had.
Well, thank you. I would not propose to change this at this time, but I wonder if the committee could consider increasing the dues to include the subscription to the American Journal of Nursing. If we would increase the dues $3 and then this would automatically be a subscription to the journal, then the district would get back 50 cents of this. I think it's something that we should think about.
discussion but not.
That's true. I had not made it
Some
wrong.
of the extra bookkeeping was a big work with.
Is there further discussion regarding the budget? Then all in favor of adopting the budget as presented, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. And it is adopted as circulated. You did hear the treasurer's report for both the month of July for both the registry and the district. And these will be placed on file for the auditors. At this time, we'll have the annual report of the executive secretary. Jackson.
I might just state to Ms. Jones that they're still thinking about it up in AMA headquarters in Giddington, AJN. We met the new business director, Mr. Day, and they're planning very big on that. We hope that'll come about. If there's any more bookkeeping in this office down there, I'm already going down at 6:50 in the morning to get ahead of the telephone. We will just have to have an assistant. Frank, it's been a very busy year, and I won't take all of your time in telling you the details of the office routine. We have visited all the hospitals, all the health agencies, distributed material, sent out thousands of letters. Even if we didn't send you the minutes this time, we didn't have the postage for the $55 extra. And as we've been accustomed to having it in the meter, we hope that will be a thing next year if our membership increases. We sent 200 notices on the delinquent members and got 10 yesterday from that group and are continuing to get membership. I believe that with the effort of all members, that we could raise the 230 that we need to really fulfill, and we have lived within the budget. But we want something above that budget, and we want to have enough to start in next year and start building on the savings fund. We feel that if every member helped us in this recruitment, and I'd like to make just one little statement. This morning, I was sending a card overseas to Japan, and I looked on the back. I was waiting on a telephone call, and I think I've sent out more than 6,000 of them during the past 6 years. I'm sure I have, nearly 7,000. And sometimes I think all of us fail to look on the back of that professional code, and I'd just like to ask you to read again, in which it tells you, and from all members, as part of your responsibility with promoting membership, and part of our responsibility in working with everyone and in harmony with everyone. And I feel that we are going to see a new day in our organization and in our headquarters, where we sold $574 in ads. Like for you see, Abby Rent's ad, they gave us $199 for that, and it paid for the director. We sent out 2,000 and 500 letters to the new graduates inviting them to join us. We've changed more than 700 addressographs. That's a great detail. It's a very tedious thing. But the postal authorities were there this week. They stayed on the first of the year. We must have your zip codes. And please be sure to give us your changes of addresses. The office routine has been carried out. The books are up to date. And with the 1,153 members, I'll briefly just give you according to sections. We have 7 CESR, 114 EACT, 230 administrators, 188 general duty, 42 occupational health, 136 public health, and private duty, 436 for 2 associates, giving us the 1,153 to 4 associates.
Now, move to the annual reports of the standing committees. Oh, I'm sorry, didn't have myself here. Report of and recommendations from the Board of Directors. Ms. Allen.
The annual meeting of 5th District GSNA Executive Board was held Tuesday, September 6, 4:30 p.m. St. Joseph's Infirmary, with 13 members present, 1 ex officio member, our executive secretary, and parliamentarian. Most standing committees gave or sent written annual reports to the executive board. The recommendation from the program committee was passed by the executive board, which asked that the speakers be engaged as far in advance as possible. This would make it possible for us to have better speakers, more prominent people, as they are engaged several months in advance. A motion was made that since there is a recommendation from the chairman of the bylaws committee was given the board, this concerned the rewriting of the rules for the public health section. A motion was made, since there is no conflict in the public health section, proposed rewrite of their rules and the bylaws of the 5th District or Georgia State Nurses Association. The chairman of the committee on bylaws requests the executive board of 5th District to grant permission to the public health section to present the rewrite of their section rules to their members in October. This motion was carried. Our president, Ms. Polk, informed the board that the committee had been appointed by the community council, in which they asked the chairman of the private duty section and the chairman of the registry committee to serve on this committee. This will be composed of other health agencies, hospital administrators, directors of nursing, hospital counsel, and medical professionals. A motion was made and passed by the board that the budget of the Nurses Professional Registry for 1967 be postponed until the November board meeting. A motion was passed by the board to discontinue Nurse of the Year Award. The board asked the program committee to use Nurse Week in another way so that more of the membership would be more actively involved in carrying out a fresh theme. The annual board meeting adjourned at 7:35 p.m. Dean offers secretary.
At this time, we will have the annual reports of the staff.
You did ask for any comment on that, and I would like to take
In regards to the recommendation report and recommendation
Well, in
report.
regards to one of the things that she reported, she said that the executive board, I believe, voted to discontinue the Nurse of the Year award. And I believe that if you look back in the minutes, that this was action of the General Assembly and not action of the executive board. And I believe we have the action of the General Assembly to discontinue it.
The question is, the action of the board as relates to the Nurse of the Year award, should come to the membership. Just one moment, let me check here and see. I thought we had checked this out.
But it was action of the general body, and this could be rectified by them just making a recommendation and letting the general body vote on it.
We don't have that in here, that's too far. It started the first year I was there, 1960. It had been built just before I left. We never started it right.
We're not able to know just where this came from, but if there are no objections to membership, I'll ask Ms. Alford to give this to us as a recommendation from the board. And in order to expedite time here. Yes.
A motion was made to discontinue Nurse of the Year award. That was on the head. But the thinking was that this had kind of grown stale, and that we might go about Nurse Week in a more profitable and more, in a way that would get more members actively interested by doing something else, maybe a Student of the Year, or let each section nominate Nurse of the Year from their section, or something of this order, in order to recruit more interest in our Nurse Week.
Motion in order?
Yes.
I move that we accept the recommendation of the executive board to discontinue the Nurse of the Year program.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, we will then vote. All in favor?
Does that mean that our district will not have a nominee for the state?
No, I,
How will they, well, how will we get a nominee for the state? We don't have any.
I'm not in a position.
Madam President, I feel Ms. Pierce is a little confused on that. I believe
I'm
she is,
not talking about, I'm talking about the general nurse of the year, that at the state convention, we'll have.
but how that is possibility, this is the 5th District Nurse of the Year.
But at the convention, they have a general nurse of the year on the banner.
No, they don't.
Am I not wrong? And then a state nurse of the year is chosen each year at the convention?
It's private. It's just private duty nurses.
No, it is not. I beg your pardon. We have a private duty nurse of the year too, but we have a state nurse of the year. The general over all the sections.
Madam Chairman, we've had nurses here at the convention only once, and that was last year in Savannah. Now, I understand, all I hear is we're not having it anymore, it has not been mentioned on the state board.
Well, I knew they had it.
Yes. She was asking for
It's
information.
been discontinued, I believe.
Thank you, Ms.
Who's second of this, Ms. Cole?
Ms. McCaffrey. Ms. McCaffrey. Is there further discussion or questions? All in favor of the motion to discontinue the Nurse of the Year award, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
No.
Motion is carried. At this time, we will have the annual reports of the standing committees, program, and payment.
Madam President, Mrs. Shear, it is my privilege to bring to you the action committee on the program. 3 meetings were staged during the year to project the planning of business. We attempted to present helpful and meaningful programs. We endeavored to engage the membership in active participation, and we honored outstanding members of the district. The accomplishments were those that you participated in. Our beautiful harvest banquet, November the 18th, at the Boulder Hotel, was a beautiful and well-planned program. Our program theme on a set of values is implemented throughout the remaining program activities of the year. Our endeavor to stay true to the heritage of diversity, Christian, is American, and it involves the profession of diversity. January was the meeting devoted to the business affairs organization. Program committee delayed planning accordingly. March had a very splendid program with 4 excellent speakers. At this time, the theme was implemented on diversity securities. The commemorative month of May involved all agencies in the community and all medias of communication which told our story. I'm sure each of us shared in this. It was climaxed with a commemorative service on May the 12th. The elements certainly were against us. We had a splendid crowd, regardless of the common weather, and a fine speaker, beautiful decor, and Nurse of the Year was honored by Betty Cone Blake, the 2nd Ward, Mabel Purcell, and the 3rd Ward, Nancy Sale. We would wish to participate in such a manner in the ensuing years that speakers, many are very vitally interested in each agency that we are a part of, and wish to share with us. But when we look at the broad aspects of the program, they wish to share with us all. They have impressed us with the fact that we need to place their names before our committee in a time element that they may serve us best. So we recognize that a longer period is needed, and the board has kindly assisted us in this area. This accounts for our activities.
Thank you, Ms. Hammond. Printing, Mrs. Atkins.
We've only had the schedule cards and the 2,000 directories. That's all.
Finance, Ms. Mays.
The finance committee met twice during the year. We didn't make any recommendations, but in the report we gave to the board on Tuesday, was asking every person to help with membership, and especially our key people in key positions.
Thank you, Ms. Mays. Legislation, Ms. Litchfield.
You have that report, the secretary has it.
We have a written report, I believe.
There were 2 meetings held and work carried on the telephone. Aims for the year: to work for the Senate Bill 114, change in the Registered Nurse Practice Act to permit 2-year junior college programs in nursing. Accomplishment: saw the Senate Bill 114 pass the Senate 35-1 and the House with no dissenting votes. Problems none. Suggestions: chairman activity. 1. Kept committee informed. 2. Appeared at Senate committee hearings and spoke in favor of bill. 3. Was in Capitol during time bill was in the House, and with Georgia Hospital Association representative lobbied for the bill. Signature Al Ditchfield. The legislative committee sent 2 recommendations. 1, that a new chairman be appointed for 1966-67. This be taken care of by our present bylaw. 2, that the committee be alerted to new legislation which may come up related to the licensed practical nurse law. The chairman should keep in touch with me as chairman of the subcommittee on the joint council of the 4 nursing organization board.
Membership and credentials, Mrs. Dorothy Wood.
She bailed that one in.
We have a written report.
Membership and Credential Committee. Meetings held 5. Aims for the year: to encourage renewal and new membership. Accomplishments: approved 146 applicants for membership. Suggestions: extend an invitation to directors of nursing service and assistants to attend at least 1 meeting of the Membership and Credential Committee. Dorothy M. Wood, Chairman. They have recommendations. 1, Director of Nursing Service, select a committee from her staff to help encourage membership. Directors of Nursing Service send a report to other directors concerning discharge of a professional nurse from her staff, also to the Membership Committee. Dorothy M. Wood.
These recommendations are accepted as suggestions and would be passed to the new membership committee, and credentials committee. Public relations, Mrs. Hanson, and I believe I saw a written report.
She gave us.
She did.
Is she here? She's been doing a lot of work.
Mrs. Hanson, please.
There's only one recommendation, and it does, I believe, state that you have 3 meetings, and several of those. be a suggestion for maybe the next meeting.
All right. We have that here, do we not?
Yes.
Yes.
Suggestion from the Public Relations Committee, develop in advance special interest news items and give the Women's Division writers time to write their own releases.
Thank you. This will be carried to the new committee. Thank you, Ms. Hampton. Registry Committee, Ms. Honeycutt.
I think it's better not to go over the past year, but just to think about the future. We've had a meeting every 2 months as the registry committee voted to do before I became chairman. We've had call meetings other than that. There have been subcommittees who have worked hard on policies, new policies and rules. But we finally decided that it would be better not to waste so much effort until we saw where we were going. Into our financial problems, continue to work in an effort to save the registry. If you remember, it was in 1964 that we first began to have trouble when George Baptist pulled out from the registry. Our financial problems continue to work in an effort to save the registry. This was not a committee. Only interested board members who had the proper connections to Johnson culminate a solution to our financial problem. As a result, we have a grant of $8,000 through the Community Council of the Atlanta Area Incorporated. In accordance with the policy of the foundation, it is requested that no publicity be given to the source of the grant. Quoting from the A&A Registry Manual, the Board of Directors and the membership of a district should give careful consideration to the establishment of a professional registry. Once established, it is the responsibility of the Board of Directors and all members to promote the registry and to give it full support. For the first time in our 50 years of service, we are now approved by the Atlanta Area Council as a necessary community service. I have some excerpts from some communication that I would like to read to you. This came from the Community Council, that it is recommended that any area that is as large as the Atlanta metropolitan area should have a central registry for nurses. Such a registry must be developed on a sound financial basis. It is recommended that maintenance funds be allotted to the proper officials of this registry on an emergency basis only, so as to keep it in operation until permanent policies and methods of financing can be worked out. This is the letter that was written to Dr. R.C. Williams, Director, Hospital and Health Planning Department, Community Council of the Atlanta Area Incorporated. Dear Dr. Williams, we are so grateful for your consideration of the threat to safe patient care that could occur through the loss of the 5th District Nurses Professional Registry served this community for more than 50 years on a non-profit basis. Enclosed is the requested itemized account of the minimum emergency maintenance funds needed to keep the registry in operation through December 31st, 1966. This does not include a night registrar, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., or a holiday relief registrar. The service of the night registrar was eliminated for the first time effective on August 2nd, 1966. It is hoped that answering service may be utilized for the replacement of the night registrar. This is in an effort to see whether or not one is actually needed. Also, in case there is an emergency, as sometimes arises if we have an answering service that will take over. Of course, this is something that we discussed at a later date, that one would be available until someone could get there to take over the registry. It is hoped that answering the total required is $7,905, which includes all the expenses amounting to $2,054. A grant of $8,000 has been requested, and it is our understanding that such a sum may be made available. This being true, we would like the amount of $2,000 to be deposited on the first of the remaining 4 months, September through December, to the regular checking account of the Nurses Spectrum Registry, account number 067726164. Please send directly to the Mayor Keller, the Citizens in Southern National Bank, main branch, Marietta and Broad Street, Atlanta, Georgia. A monthly financial statement covering expenditures will be forwarded to your office. We appreciate the fine cooperation of the Community Council in meeting this critical need. Very truly yours, E. Hunter. The aims that we have discussed on our registry committee, first of all, is to get all private duty nurses back on the registry, to meet each month instead of every other month, to meet with the nursing service directors to compromise on formulating policies, to secure the chevrons that we talked about for the licensed practical nurses and the LP and the undergraduate science. The reason that this has not been done has been because of lack of funds and because we were having problems with the design of the chevron, but that's finally settled, so with the proper monies we can carry through on this. In order to cover the critically ill, we need to draw up self-evaluation forms for private duty nurses so that programs in the private duty nursing section meetings can be aimed to the needs of its members, or in-service programs can be held in hospitals. Thank you.
Bylaws Committee, Ms. Hudson. The Committee on Bylaws held one meeting during the year with 8 members present. 3 communications on 2 different sections were considered. The private duty section requested the Bylaw Committee to consider an increase in dues which would enable all members to support the The EACT and Public Health Sections recommended that the district bylaws stay as presently written. After discussion, the committee reached a consensus that any change in the district bylaws prior to the ANA biennial would be inappropriate. And since the biennial, we have not had any communication from ANA as to the proposed bylaw changes. So nothing could be brought at this time in the way of bylaw changes. The Committee on Bylaw was requested to meet with the Study Committee on Structure to discuss the proposed changes in the structure of ANA. The chairman contacted the chairman of the Study Committee but found that a joint meeting was not possible. The Public Health Section presented in July a rewrite of their section rules, which called for one change in providing for a second vice chairman. The few other changes were of an editorial nature. It is necessary to include the second vice chairman in the Public Health Section rules to bring them into conformity with the district bylaws which provide for it. There were so many committee members on vacation that it has not been possible to obtain a quorum before September the 1st. So the executive board at its meeting on Tuesday evening granted permission to the Public Health Section to present the rewrite of their section rules to their members in October, since actually the only changes in the rules would be to make them conform to the bylaws of the district. Thank you, Ms. President. We have the report of the advisory committee to the register and standard.
Madam President, the advisory committee was governed by the position on the registry in the year 1965-66. We had 3 occasions to meet the very fine and faithful registry committee. One was a special staged structured meeting. We attempted in this role to serve in the capacity to fulfill the responsibility of the committee to serve in an advisory capacity to the professional nurses registry, and to determine how we may give advice or guidance in our area of serving patients with metropolitan Atlanta. We believe that these well-attended meetings and the faithful and diligent work of the professional nurses interested in this phase of nursing were beneficial and revealing, and that much progress was made. I'm sure some of the progress could not be tangibly measured at the time, but I think it's certainly taking shape now in the effort I reported the chairman. We recognize the decline in the membership participating in the affairs of the registry, and we too wish to strive with the registry committee for a full complement of professional nurses and other related ancillary nurses to serve the people of Atlanta. We would suggest that there be a continuous, dedicated, and faithful reevaluation of this service. Respectfully.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. That completes the reports of the standing committees. And while the reports were not quite maybe so detailed in time, these reports do, I'm sure, represent many hours of work, thought on behalf of many members of this organization. I would like to ask the chair of the standing committee that have just reported to all please stand and let's give them an understanding. We move now to the annual report of sections. EACT, Ms. Bryce. Administrators section.
We held 3 meetings that were well attended and had a variety of programs, including the one very interesting one on nurse physician relationship. And the NSA section is very proud to have Ms. Mary Woody as an ANA director. And we will have our annual meeting on October 16th.
General duty, Mrs. Thornton.
May I just make a statement, Madam Chairman?
Yes.
For the first time, we had a good report from the general duty section. You're not here today to hear it, but we've been trying to reactivate them since 1960. And at the executive board meeting on Tuesday, Ms. Thornton told us that they were being well attended. And I think that's something for us to be proud of. And incidentally, the CESR, the EACT section will hold a special meeting on the 21st. We got a notice yesterday, they were scheduled to meet on Wednesday, and they have postponed it till the 21st, and we'll have election of officers, and cards will be sent to them.
The EACT section will meet on
21st at 1:30.
21st for election of officers. Occupational health, Ms. Lee. Public health, Mrs. Hasty. Ms. Hasty is certainly color that someone has.
Here's the report for her.
Public health section, we held 6 meetings, aims for the year, to have meaningful programs each meeting. 2, to complete revision of rules so that they will be in line with 5th District bylaws. Accomplishment. 1, an interesting and helpful program was presented at each meeting. 2, revision of rules completed. Problems. 1, revised rules not voted on, waiting for approval from 5th District bylaws committee and board. 2, too few members. Suggestions. Importance of membership in ANA be taught more forcibly in schools of nursing. 2, importance of membership in ANA be stressed through agencies which employ nurses, hospitals, and health departments, so forth. Margaret Hasty.
Private beauty section, Mrs. Zerk.
Oh, she asked me to read this.
Thanks.
There were 6 meetings held during the year. Accomplishments raised the private duty fees from 8-hour duty. 2 private duty nurses from 5th District attended the biennial ANA convention at San Francisco as delegates. Aims for the year: to strive for better cooperation and communication. Educational programs and workshops are to be held.
Thank you. If you would just take a second and have the section chair, who are still here also, stand up. I believe they're all colored, are they not? I believe they are. Let's give them a round of Would you like to fluff your pillows and stand up? Committee, the Committee on Professional Practice, Ms. Ryan. Careers, Mrs. Lane.
We have one here.
I believe the report from the board covered some of their suggestions, but
The Careers Committee has held 2 meetings aimed for the year. Assist plans for nursery, select nurse of the year, and review recruitment possibilities. Accomplishments. Assisted the nursery plan and selected nurse of the year. Problems. Selecting nurse of the year. And there were no recommendations on this committee.
we did have one suggestion which had been acted on and reported to you already from that committee. We come now to the Insurance Committee. Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Early in the year, I met with Mrs. Evelyn Mason, who is with the Continental Insurance Company. Our carriers are our Spratley and Harrington, our agents. And she gave me a lot of brochures, 500 brochures to distribute, and I have distributed about 2/3 of them. I think she gave me about 500. I have not had the proper meetings. I have done much of this work over the telephone, and I have certainly had good support from Mr. Henderson, who's vice president of our agency, and he has advised me that our biggest change or improvement in our insurance policies is the malpractice insurance. We are now covered for any incidents that we might be involved in as a layperson as well as a professional person. And our major medical now has a $500 deductible. And of course, Medicare has changed insurance policies, hospitalization policies for all people over 65. So that insurance policy, the major medical for those over 65 now is just a simple $100 a week, and had been a much larger policy, but that has been the same with all insurance companies. They have only acted in the same vein that the other insurance companies have. I was requested by our president to investigate a report that there might be a better retirement plan in another company, but at this time I have been unable to decide that there is, because the agent has been a little loath to let me have brochures. He had wished to know our plan, and we felt that he should give us his plan and let us make a decision. I'm still waiting. He did tell me that he would make it. I'm still waiting on that. Now, we know that the retirement plan, our retirement plan, is that it's been approved by the government, which only covers private duty nurses, because nurses in other agencies usually are covered with the retirement plan from their agency. And it had been noted that our legal liability insurance, which we may have with our agency, may not be the best coverage for us. So we would admonish all of the nurses to look
into the liability coverage, the legal liability that's offered in our group. And this is about the biggest interest that I've been able to see in the young nurses with insurance. Young people are just not insurance minded except for automobiles. And this liability, I have mentioned this to a number of our young graduates and feel that maybe that this will stimulate some interest, especially those who have been invited to have to be a temporary member of the association. Several of them have expressed their feeling that maybe they have better into the insurance. Of course, if they do that, I hope that we will keep this message.
Thank you. I believe we especially need to give Ms. Fitzpatrick a hand, and that she is the only chair that got here with a report of a special committee. And
Yes, sir. I would like to ask for a question. Yes. The only hospitalization available in nurses for America is $500. Do you have anything else that is available?
I'm sorry I can't answer that question now because there has been some change and I haven't received any of the information for that, but I would be glad to have Mr. Henderson mail to you what he has. I have done that for our members, and he's playing mail.
Is it coming through the association? There's not any other group,
Through our association. Well, I'm not sure if there is, but I'm afraid there isn't. But if you do remember the address, I'll ask you to do something.
Ms. Alford, I believe, has talked to Mr. Henderson and maybe can answer you further.
I did talk to Mr. Henderson about the $500 deductible, and as of yet, he checked all major medical policies, and for the money and for what we get, he says this is the best that he can find that is to offer for major medical. Of course, you do need a basic hospital plan, and he sent me several of those. And if that's all you have, then you need to be covered before you get the $500. So he will send you several basic medical plans. But $500 for the money he checked, he says is the best that he can find to offer for the nursing.
you need another policy.
But you need a basic medical plan.
Now, just the information I read in time too, there's so many of the insurance companies now, of which I know is one case, that gives the husband and wife both have medical, major medical with the company that he is employed by, and through the nursing association, that company insurance will not pay off if the major medical for the nursing association does. It only comes in and takes a little portion at the end of an illness. So insurance is getting pretty tight right now.
At this time, I will share with you some communications. I have a letter from addressed to me and the members of the 5th District Georgia State Nurses Association. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for the great honor and beautiful award I received during Nurse Week. It indeed was a great surprise and compliment. You can be assured that I will always be very proud of our noble profession and treasure the award that was given to me. Thank you, and sincerely yours, Nancy E. Sale. Another letter is addressed to me as President of the U.S. Post. Please extend my sincere appreciation to the members of the 5th District for the beautiful role I received at the Nurse of the Year presentation ceremony. It is a bit overwhelming to be a recipient 2 years in succession. It makes me feel definite responsibilities to live up to the honor bestowed. On behalf of the many nurses who are eminently qualified to receive like recognition, and indeed which this award signifies, I accept the honor with grateful appreciation. Sincerely, Mabel Porcel. I have an announcement of a short course on the administration of nursing service in nursing homes. School of Nursing, Medical College of Georgia, cooperating with the State of Georgia Department of Public Health, the Georgia Nursing Home Association, have planned a short course for supervisors and directors of nursing service in nursing homes. The time, September 26th to 30th, 1966. Place, Georgia State College. And the other details of this tuition and so forth, I'll leave it here for anyone who wishes further information. We have a letter from St. Mark's Methodist Church, Dr. Bevel Jones, addressed to Miss Carolyn Atkins as secretary. Dear Miss Atkins, personally and on behalf of the staff and congregation of St. Mark's Methodist Church, I want to tell you how happy and honored we were to have the 5th District Georgia State Nurses Association to hold their commemorative services celebrating Nurse Week in our sanctuary on May 12th. It was our privilege to have you wonderful people to use our facilities. We want you to know that we shall be happy to work with you at any time in the future. God's richest blessings upon you all. Sincerely yours, Bevel Jones. I have another announcement of a one-day conference on legal aspects of nursing. Place, Educational Building, Medical College of Georgia, Augusta. Time, October 6, 1966, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Other details of this conference may be secured from the table. I have a request to share the program for the September 30th meeting of the Committee on Professional Practice of GSNA. The meeting will be held in Atlanta at the Mental Health Institute on Briarcliff Road. There will be more information about it in the next issue of Georgia Nursing. We've been asked to circulate and publicize information regarding this. The chair, Ms. Myrtle Lott, Committee on Professional Practice. I will leave this also on the desk. It has a tentative outline of the program. We have a letter requesting any nominations from to the Atlanta's Woman of the Year from the chairman, Mrs. Thomas Howell Clark, and the details of this are also here on the table. I believe that completes the communications that I did need to share with the membership and brings us to any unfinished business. Hearing none, we will move to new business. Is there new business to come before the membership?
Madam I counted all votes, we had a total number of votes cast, 168. We had 167 legal votes, 1 illegal vote. We had 116 votes cast for Mrs. Pauline English as first vice president. We had 51 votes cast for Mrs. Nancy McHaffey as first vice president. For secretary, Mrs. Jean Alford, we had 59 votes cast. Miss Carol E. Rogers, we had 108 votes cast. Directors, Miss Sally Clark, 24 votes cast. Miss Martha Davis, 25 votes. Mrs. Virginia Deere, 29 votes. Mrs. Jacqueline E. Graves, 108 votes. Mrs. Genevieve P. Jones, 50 votes. Mrs. Myrtle Pate, 2 votes. Mrs. Helen Pearson, 31 votes. Mrs. Minnie Lee Phillips, 15 votes. Miss Sister Louis Mary Battle, 109 votes. Mrs. Inez Stanley, 103 votes. Chairman Committee on Nominations, Miss Marie Jones, 49 votes. Mrs. Alice Martin, 17 votes. Mrs. Charlotte Sachs, 101 votes. I would now turn this list over to the President, Ms. Pope, and the ballot to the Secretary, Ms. Alden.
Did she sign it? Did they sign it?
All signed.
I have the report of the tellers. This proof will be signed by chair and members. We have 167 legal ballots for first vice president. Mrs. Pauline English, 116 votes. Ms. Nancy McHaffey, 51 votes. The chair declares Ms. Pauline English elected as first vice president. For secretary, Ms. Jean Alford, 59 votes. Ms. Carol Rogers, 108 votes. Chair declares Ms. Carol E. Rogers elected for secretary. For directors, we have Ms. Sally Clark, 24 votes. Ms. Martha Davis, 25 votes. Ms. Virginia Deere, 29 votes. Mrs. Jacqueline E. Graves, 108 votes. Mrs. Genevieve P. Jones, 50 votes. Ms. Myrtle Pate, 2 votes. Mrs. Helen Pearson, 31 votes. Ms. Minnie Lee Phillips, 15 votes. Sister Louis Mary Battle, 109 votes. Mrs. Inez Stanley, 103 votes. The chair declares Sister Louis Mary Battle, Mrs. Jacqueline E. Graves, and Mrs. Inez Stanley as directors. The chairman Committee on Nominations, Ms. Marie Jones, 49 votes. Mrs. Alice Martin, 17 votes. Mrs. Charlotte Sachs, 101 votes. The chair declares Mrs. Charlotte Sachs as the chairman Committee on Nominations. Are any of the new elected officers present? If you please come forward and be recognized. While they are coming forward, on behalf of the board, on behalf of the membership, as your president, I would like to express real appreciation to those officers who are leaving the board, and welcome to the board, the newly elected members. Jacqueline Graves, and Ms. Sachs, and Ms. White. Let's give all of our new officers delighted to have. At this time, I have a motion for a motion. All in favor, please indicate.
I move that we destroy last year's ballot.
Oh,
Automatically.
I'm sorry, our bylaws cover the handling of the
That's
ballots
automatic?
automatically.
Keep them 1 year.
Keep them 1 year. We have a motion and a second to adjourn.
There was some question about the redistricting, was that supposed to be brought up?
No, in that this district had not discussed redistricting in the nature that it was presented. And if the chair did not feel that it should come to the membership. And this was discussed before. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Chair declares the meeting adjourned.
Yes, ma'am.